A topic that has been talked about a million times. Are games just boring now? But instead of arguing that, let me just tell you a little story about how I accidentally fell down the rabbit hole of playing single player games. I used to be obsessed with competitive games. League of Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, Valorant, CSGO, Rocket League, you name it, I probably played it. I was an absolute ranked demon. I'd hop on every single day with one goal: climb higher and get better. But as I got older, something changed. I kept grinding, but I slowly stopped caring. My motivation and interest to climb slowly disappeared, and I was bored. Bored of playing the same game every day. Bored of spending 6-hour gaming sessions just to end up exactly where I started. Bored of chasing a rank that, at the end of the day, doesn't really mean anything. Sound familiar? I'm not saying everyone who gets older is going to quit competitive gaming. Plenty of people still love them. But I do think a lot of us eventually hit a point where the endless ranked grind just doesn't hit the same anymore. And I was definitely one of those people. Then, one fateful day in 2020, my friends pre ordered Cyberpunk 2077 for me as a birthday present. Shout out my old homies. Except the game launched in an absolutely terrible state filled with bugs. So I dropped it almost immediately and went straight back to competitive games. Fast forward 2 years and Cyberpunk Edgerunners comes out. I fell in love with the world of Night City, and after finishing what I consider an absolute masterpiece of an anime, I decided to give Cyberpunk 2077 another chance, and that might have been the best gaming decision I've ever made. If you've never really played a single player game, or you've always struggled to get into them, I strongly recommend Cyberpunk 2077 as a place to start. Everything just clicked for me: the dark, dystopian story, the characters, the atmosphere, the incredible graphics, the satisfying combat. Even simple things like driving through Night City made the world feel alive. And for 2 straight weeks in college, all I did was play Cyberpunk. And then I finished it. So naturally, I went straight back to competitive games. I know. But something had changed. Finishing Cyberpunk completely changed the way I looked at gaming as a whole. Instead of only thinking about climbing ranks, improving my mechanics, and trying to min max every little thing, I started looking forward to discovering the next world I could lose myself in. And a few months later, I picked up another single player game, and then another. And that's when I realized what I've been missing. There's something so special about experiencing a game completely on your own. No teammates to blame, no ranked anxiety, no pressure to win. Just you, the world, and whatever story the developers wanted to tell. When you finish a great single player game, it sticks with you long after you finished it. You remember the moments, the characters that stuck with you, the plot twists that caught you off guard, the music that still sometimes randomly pops into your head months later, the ending that leaves you staring at the credits, wondering what you're supposed to do now. Every new game becomes its own adventure. You go into it knowing almost nothing, and by the time you finish it, it feels like you've experienced something completely different from anything before. Every world has its own rules, its own atmosphere, its own stories waiting to be discovered. That's something competitive games just can't replicate. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy hopping on ranked with my friends every now and then, but those moments usually blend together after a while. One match turns into another. One season becomes the next. Eventually, you're just chasing a rank that just gets reset a few months later. A great single player game sticks with you. Even years later, I can still remember walking through Night City for the first time. I remember the feeling of exploring new places, meeting unforgettable characters, and wanting to know what was next in store for me. That sense of discovery is something I haven't felt in gaming for a long time. And honestly, that feeling is what made me fall in love with gaming all over again. Not because I was winning more, not because I finally hit my dream rank, but because I finally remembered why I started to play video games in the first place: to experience worlds I can never visit, stories I can never live, and adventures that would stay with me long after I finished them. So, if you're bored of gaming, I implore you, give a single player game a chance. Find one that resonates with you. For me, it was Cyberpunk 2077, an action packed open world RPG that completely changed how I viewed games. For someone else, maybe it's a cozy game like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing. If you're into story driven adventures, Maybe it's Claire Obscure Expedition 33 or Baldur's Gate 3, both Game of the Year winners for a reason. The point is, there's a game for everyone, whether you want to relax, cry, laugh, get lost in a fantasy world, or just escape reality for a few hours. There's a game out there waiting for you to give it a chance. And maybe it'll remind you why you fell in love with gaming in the first place. Because games were never just about winning, they're about exploring places we'll never see, meeting characters we'll never forget, and experiencing stories that would stay with us long after the credits roll. So, if you've been stuck in the endless cycle of ranked matches and battle passes, maybe it's time to try something different. And who knows, your next favorite game might be the one you've been ignoring this whole time. Hey everyone, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope I convinced you to at least give a single player game a chance. And if you're looking for some recommendations and don't know where to start, feel free to ask in the comments below. Trust me, I have ball knowledge. Also, be sure to like the video and subscribe. It's free and you could always unsubscribe later. Alright, thanks everyone.